Alright, sequences, chapter 13. A sequence is a set of numbers in a particular order. The numbers in a sequence are called terms. In this chapter we'll be looking at two simple sequences. The first one is arithmetic, where you add the same number. The second is geometric, where you multiply by the same number. On the screen you can see that I have two sequences. Sequences are always a set of numbers that are separated by commas. Sometimes the sequences go on forever, which is indicated by the dots at the end of it. Okay. The first sequence, I hope that all of you can see that we are adding 5 each time. The number 5 has a special name. It's called the common difference, and in the formula we use the letter D. So D is 5. The way we find 5, if it's not apparent by looking at it, is we take the second term and we subtract the first term, and that number is 5. The second sequence is a geometric sequence. We can see that each time we are multiplying by 2. 2 has a fancy name. It's called the common ratio, and in the formula for this sequence we'll use the letter R. Okay? There'll be two types of problems that you'll need to look at. The first one is that you have a rule, and let's say we're going to start with arithmetic. So this is going to be an arithmetic sequence, and you have a rule and your job is to find terms. Okay? And so the rule is written like this, and so a sub n refers to the nth term, and then n is the number of term. Okay, so here's what we do to find, let's say, the first 4 terms of this sequence. We take 5 times 1 plus 7, and that gives us 12, and that is our first term, and the way we write first term is we write a sub 1. Okay. A sub 2 is what we get when we put 2 in for n, so 5 times 2 plus 7, and that equals 17. A sub 3 equals, you're getting the idea, plus 7, that would equal 22. And so one more, a sub 4 equals 5 times 4 plus 7 equals 27. So the first 4 terms of this sequence are as follows. Okay. Second type of question we have is that we have terms and we need a rule. So at this time I'm going to show you the general form for an arithmetic sequence, and it looks like this. A sub 1 equals a sub 1 plus, in parentheses, n minus 1d. Okay? So I want you to think about this kind of how we found equation of lines. Given some information, if we knew the slope and we knew the y-intercept, we could find an equation of a line. Well, likewise, if I'm given in an arithmetic sequence the following as my pattern, I need two things. First, I need to know the difference, what I'm adding each time, and second, I need to know the first term. Okay? So I think it's pretty easy in this one to see that each time I'm adding 4, the first term is 1, and so my rule is 1 plus n minus 1 times the difference, which when I clean it up, the difference we said was 4, would be a sub n is equal to 4n minus 4 plus 1, which is minus 3. Okay? So that's working backwards in an arithmetic sequence. We can do the same for geometric. So we remember in a geometric sequence we're multiplying by the same number each time. So let's go ahead and look at the following. Here's my rule. G sub n equals 1 times 3 to the n minus 1. Okay? Looks a little bit different than our arithmetic sequences. Usually we use A for arithmetic and G for geometric, but sometimes we use different letters and make you figure it out. All right? So let's say that I want the first 4 terms. So just like before, to get the first term we're going to take 1 times 3 and we put in a 1 for n. And so what we get is 1. The second term we plug in 2 for n, and we get 3. Third term, we plug in 3 for n, and we get 9. And I think you can probably ahead of time see that when we plug in 4 for n, we get 27. Okay? So the first 4 terms of this geometric sequence are as follows. Okay, last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at some terms. Let's go back to that sequence we had at the beginning, and we're going to come up with the rule. Tell me the rule to find terms in this sequence. So here we go. Our general form, just like we had a general form back here for an arithmetic sequence, and if you're thinking to yourself, I wonder if we're going to be expected to memorize that, the answer is yes. For a geometric, it's actually much easier. To find g sub n, the nth term in a sequence, we start out with the first term and we multiply by the ratio, and then the power is always to the n minus 1. So from this piece of information we know the first term is 5, and the ratio is what we get when we take the second term and divide by the first term, and we found before that this ratio was 2, and so the name of this rule is g sub n equals 5 times 2 to the n minus 1. Okay, and that's really the introduction to sequences that you need in order to do the book work and the work in class. See you in class.